Hi and welcome to episode 3 of Terrain Lab. I'm Peter Davis and I'm here with Dan.
Hey, how are we going?
In another episode. This week is, as ever, we are sponsored by, well, we don't really sponsor, we're more just like drinking beer and like talking about beer. So, as ever, we have this year chosen an interesting one as most, and the theme of this one, and we'll come to this in a second, is Necromunda. So a few people in the comments, and I'll get to that, requested some Necromunda stuff. The new Necromunda was announced recently. We're both very excited about that.
Very excited, yeah.
It looks really cool. Looks like there's going to be multiple ways to play, and it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, definitely.
So I tried to, in light of that, I tried to find a Necromunda beer, Dan.
Okay.
As Necromunda as I could think of it.
Right, how'd you go?
I think I did all right. I got the, if you want to grab it, I've got the Piston Head Custom Lager, which is not too unknown. It's quite good as claims, but it's got a flaming skull on it, which kind of reminded me of a ganga symbol of some sort.
It does, yes, very much.
I did like that a lot. So.
I think you could have a gang called the Piston Heads. That
you
might
could,
work.
that might could. So I thought it was suitably under Hy-Vee. So I guess I kind of know what this one tastes like already. But
yeah,
shall we pull tabs? And...
Let's do this.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Ah, lovely.
Yeah, that's nice.
That's nice. It's got depth to it, even as a lager.
It does. I'm quite surprised that at 4.6%, it doesn't have that heaviness to it that you'd get with a much stronger strength beer. But,
yeah.
It's really quite refreshing, quite nice.
Malty with a bit of hops on the end, with a bit of refreshing. That's good. Nice. So, cheers again. I mean, we need more of these. I think these are great.
Yeah.
Right, so I'm just going to get the YouTube comments up. Thank you so much for those who liked, subscribed, and commented on our video. We really appreciate the positive attention and some of the constructive comments. There were 2 people that requested Necromunda. There was a chap, Robbie Yates.
Yep.
He said, "G'day, buddy." I think he's a mate of yours, is he?
He is, yes.
Yeah, it said, "Great video with the new Necromunda and the Hive coming out. Could you do a vid, Necro terrain, multi-level, balanced, open buildings?" So let's see. We've kind of going to hopefully answered, so giving you something you like today. Okay. And also Dan S. Commented, said, "Nice video, gents. I look forward to texturing follow-up. That's going to be published soon, if not already. As a suggestion for future terrain, how about some Necromunda-themed industrial terrain for the up-and-coming release?" Well, Dan and Robbie, I think we've answered. Today we are doing
Tin Can Silos.
Tin Can Silos. It sounds like a good band name. Welcome introducing the Tin Can Silos. I like it.
So let's have a look at one we made earlier.
Yeah.
So this is it here in its sort of rawness. As you can see, the basis for the construction is around your average tin can, which you can pick up from the supermarket, your weekly shop. A lot of obviously non-perishables come in tin cans. We use them in our cooking, day-to-day lives. So a great way to just hang on to these, recycle as well, and make some fantastic terrain for your gaming table. Very inexpensive as well. As I said, the core ingredient, if you will, or the core material is a tin can. This one, I believe, had some refried beans in it from the last nachos night. So just need to grab one of those. We also need our ever trusty just thin card from, again, this is from a cereal packet. Just, about that thickness, if you can sort of see that. I'll put it up against the green. And my little sort of trick up my sleeve, the sewing pins are making a reappearance as well. Again, you can pick those up from any sort of arts and crafts shops. Not very expensive at all, maybe £1 and you get a few hundred of them, which we'll be using in the build. So that's materials aside. Let's have a look at the plant, which I have here. So, hopefully these are showing up. There we go. So as you can see, pretty straightforward. We've got the can in the middle, which is the basis for our silo, and some trim around it on the sides and the top. Yeah, pretty straightforward.
I'll put a link to the plans as well. We'll do a scan and put those in the comments as well, so check below.
Definitely. And finally, let's have a look at the tools we're going to use for our build. So we are obviously going to be using a trusty little hobby knife. Again, make sure you're getting fresh blades so they're nice and sharp when you do your cutting. We also are going to be using just a pen for marking out the trim on our card, and we'll also be using a hobby drill or a pin vise. Now with these, obviously drilling into both cardboard and aluminium cans, that is going to blunt your drill bit. So if you've got a drill bit that's old, been through the wars, might want to use that, or just be prepared that you're going to have a drill bit that's going to be very useless at the end of this terrain build. Cool. And also glue-wise, just using some super glue to glue the framing and struts onto our tin can with the those little sewing pins as well for our rivets.
And I noticed something that's not too common in a hobby build project over there, the old tape measure there.
So to measure out the curved surface of the can, I do have a seamstress's tape. You can pick these up really cheap from sewing supply shops or art and craft shops.
I've seen them in a few Sainsbury's as well.
Yeah, Sainsbury's, things like places like that. They're just handy because obviously you can wrap them around a curved edge. This one is in increments of centimeters, which is what I like. On the other side, we've got inches, whichever works for you. But we'll show you how to use that a little bit later on in the build.
And these cans are really cool, so if we put it rid of there, we've got a few of these actually at the guild that you made earlier.
So Sheriff Woody.
You can put ladders on them if you need to, so they go up, and they work really well for line of sight blocking terrain in 40k, but in Necromunda they make really good height terrain, and once you've got them painted up, and we'll show that on the next video, they look really cool. I think the cardboard masking really goes a long way to just making them look authentic and in context. So it's not your typical sort of sprayed black bean can. It does take it completely to a new level.
All right, brilliant. So how about we get started with our terrain build?
Sure. Yeah, cool.
So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get our piece of card and we're going to mark out all the framing, the struts that are going to go on the side and the top of our tin can silo. Now the best place to start is with the top of the can, and all you need to do for that is grab your tin can, place it onto your card surface, and we're just going to trace around the circumference of the can. So just quickly do this. I don't know if I've gone on the map. I think that's all right.
I think you've actually done it perfectly. So
have I come?
Grab that for you.
Oh. Okay, there we go. Perfect.
Yeah, looks fine.
Brilliant. So I've got the shape for the top frame of the can. Okay, so now that I've got the outer circle marked out, I need to do a slight inner circle and then an even inner circle. It's kind of like some sort of secret society, isn't it?
Yeah, the inner circle of the tin can.
To mark out the circular framing that's going to go on top of our can. So to do this, I'm just going to use a compass from the trusty School Essentials kit.
Nice.
Yeah. So to do this, I'm just going to go place the compass point in the middle of our circle. I'm going to come in about maybe just shy of a mil and try and trace. It's going to give me a very rough circle. This isn't.
Oh wow.
This School Essentials kit is not the greatest School Essentials kit.
No. And
it's going to give me.
The Four Seasons pen's not really precise.
No, the Four Seasons pen is not very precise.
That much to be desired there.
I think the focus with the Four Seasons hotel chain is on providing quality accommodation.
I think so. Pens is not so much.
No, not so much on the pens.
For designing terrain.
No.
It's a disappointment.
It is a bit of a disappointment.
So what's the inside edge for?
So with the can, if you consult the plans, you'll notice that the diameter of the can is roughly about 7 centimeters.
Yes.
So because the can's got a little bit of a lip on it, I do need to come in a little bit. So then that way, the ring, this ring is going to fit inside that lip.
I see, okay.
Yeah. So it can be a bit fiddly, and don't worry too much if after you've cut this, it's not going to fit exactly. You can kind of tweak it a little bit or shave a little bit off so it fits into the top ring of the can.
I see.
Yeah.
So accommodating that just little bit of material there.
Yeah.
Really. Okay. Cool. Got it.
That's it. All right. So now I'm going to do the inner circle. So I'm going to bring it in about 1 centimeter again. This hopefully should be a bit better. Actually, I can control it better if I grab it from up here.
Okay.
And I'm just roughly marking out where I'm going to be cutting that.
Nice.
So there you are. We've got just a rough circle to indicate where we need to cut to form that ring. And that's really going to be kind of the toughest part of this build, is making sure that we've got that ring sorted. So I can pop that away for now, and the next part of the build, I should grab the wrong tin can, is we're going to use our seamstress's tape to measure the circumference of the tin can. So all you need to do is grab your seamstress's tape. Now, most tin cans have like a join line from when they've built the can in the factory. So if you use that as your kind of marker, and I'm gonna flip this around. So the first centimeter on this seamstress's tape is taken up by this little metal head. So just obviously compensate for that if your seamstress's tape has that as well. And just wrapping it around the top there, I can just double check that we're roughly about 24 centimeters. It doesn't hurt to kind of over measure it, and you can always cut it back a little if it's not exactly right. It's going to be harder to, if it's shorter, to add in a little piece to bridge that gap. So if you need to go, in this case, I might just go 25 centimeters, and then if needs be, I can always mark and cut it later. So, but yes, seamstress's tape, make sure you get yourself one so that you can measure rounded edges like that. Okay, so now that we've got the circumference worked out for our tin can, I'm going to just go and measure the top and bottom struts for the can itself. So what I'll do is I'll grab my other bit of card. So I'm going to go 25 centimeters along, and it's going to be a thickness of 2 centimeters. So I'll just quickly go through and measure that out now. So I've marked that out, and what I'll do is I'll go through and mark out the rest of the supports and struts that we're going to use the card for on our silo, and then we'll come back after I've measured and cut them all out so that we can go ahead onto the to the next step. Okay, cool. Okay, so I've gone through and marked out all the framing, the struts that are going to go onto our silo. So I'll just do a quick, I guess, cross-reference as to what each of the markings are. So these two at the top are going to be the horizontal ones that go around the top and the bottom of our silo. These long ones here are the ones that are going to go vertically up and down the side of the can. These two here, the shorter ones, are going to be the two that are crisscrossing on the top of the can like that. And I've also marked out the little square that goes on the top. That's purely just an aesthetic thing, really. I don't know if it really would have any practicalities in the construction of the silo. Maybe it's just like a sort of a hatchy sort of thing.
They could put like a hazardous material logo
maybe,
on it or something like that. You know,
definitely
cool.
will. Yeah. So that's pretty much it, along with our the ring to go on top. So we'll go through and just cut these out, and then come back once they're all cut out to put them onto our tin can.
One thing people may be asking right now is, what about the bottom? And
the bottom?
The bottom doesn't have actually anything, does it?
No. If we look inside the can, it looks like something out of Hellraiser, really.
Don't or Saw. Yeah. don't want to poke your fingers in there.
You can base them if you want, or you could just cut out a bit of card to put on the bottom.
Yeah. If you've got little ones running around or dogs, that may be. We just got a puppy. You can tell I'm sort of puppy conscious.
Oh no.
But yeah, little wolfen.
Yeah.
But I would, if you want to do that, it can be handy. We have it at the club, and it's not been an issue. Yeah. But I can imagine someone sticking their hand in there might not.
Yeah. So up to you. But we'll just focus on the construction of the can, and then if you want to base it, it's totally up to you.
Just do another one of these basically and stick it on the bottom, but don't obviously cut a hole in it.
No. Alright, so we're going to go cut these out and come back to you once that's all done.
Cool. Thanks.
Okay, so we have cut out all the framing for our tin can silo. It's now time for us to start gluing the struts on. And the best place to start is at the top of the can. So the first thing we're going to do is grab, oh, thanks Pete, we're going to grab the small struts that are going to cross over the center of the can. So all we need to do is grab our super glue and just give it a couple of dabs on back. I'm just using some gel super glue for this. I find it works best when you're dealing with materials like card and metal, because card can actually absorb a lot of that moisture, where if it's a gel, it's not going to absorb as much of it as it would if it was a liquid super glue, like fully liquid. So I'm just going to glue the struts in first. I'm going to glue that one in like that. Just hold it down for a minute or so while that dries, a couple of seconds. Okay, so the next step is to glue on our ring. So for that, I'm just going to put a couple of dabs of super glue on the ring. Just 1, 2. I'll praise chaos and put 8 little dabs, just so it secures itself. Touch that dab up a little bit more. Excellent. So grabbing the ring and just placing it on top. Now, if it doesn't sit all that flush, just go back and give it a little bit of a trim with your hobby knife, and you should be all set after that. So hold it down for just a few seconds so that it sets, and I think we'll be in business. Give it a, oh, maybe a little bit longer. It's always, aluminium is always a bit of a hard material to work with, just because I don't think there's anywhere that it can sort of get a holding on it, really. Yeah. There we go, we've got that on. And then we're just going to glue on our little square bit. We're going to try and sit it so that it's sort of on a bit of an angle, sort of perpendicular to our cross. So I'll just put a couple of tiny dabs of glue in the corners of each of them. Almost, super glue's almost out, which is not good.
That's fine.
Sure. And I'll just put it on top like so. Like that. Cool.
Lovely.
So the next things we're going to glue on are our struts that are going to go vertically down the side of our silo. So what you need to do with those is you just need to line them up with the beams going across the top of the can, so that it's as if the bracket's going up and down the can. So again, just doing a couple of little dabs on our strut. And I'm just going to try and get that lined up with, it's already stuck on.
Now these are going to be used obviously probably in more at home setting. If you're running a club yourself and you want something that's fairly durable, you feel free to use more glue to ensure these things stay on, but we've not had much trouble with the ones that we've had. As it's already gripping pretty tight, so
got that lined up. Just fix that up. Cool. So that's the vertical struts done. All I need to do is just go through and repeat the process around the rest of the can. So I'll just quickly go ahead and do that, and we'll come back. Right. Okay, so we've glued on the ring, the cross struts on top, the vertical struts going up and down the side of our can. It's now time to glue on our horizontal struts. So I'm just going to take one and just dry fit it to make sure that it's the right size. I did purposely over measure these. As I said before, it's better to do that than to under measure, because it's going to be an absolute, like, yeah, horrible time to try and get them to get little pieces in to bridge those gaps.
Yeah.
So if you can see here, I have actually over measured it. So all I need to do is just go back, grab my pen, just going to mark where those overlap. So I'm going to take like that.
There's a lot of smart people who watch this stuff and may think they can use some circumference diameter calculations to work out what that should be without a tape measure, but those don't take into consideration a lot of the thicknesses of the things we're using, so it's usually a better idea. Certainly do that, but always add a couple extra centimeters. And to be fair, using the tape measure usually works better 99 times out of 100. So
just going to get a blade. Let's bring this down. Just go back and double check that's going to work.
perfect.
There we go, perfect. Cool, so I'm just going to go and glue this on. And I'll also just give this to you, Pete. We're going to need some rubber bands when we glue it on, just to hold it in place. So I'll just put a couple of dabs. Get some glue. There we go. Just on the tops of the card struts. So that's supported. It's always good to have the points where they meet over one of the struts, so then that way it's supported.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so I'm just going to hold this down, bring it around, up.
Is this going to be a double up jobby?
It probably will be, yeah.
Right.
So I'll hold it in place while you pop the...
Your friendly assistant?
Yeah. Lovely assistant.
Oh shit, hang on.
Oh.
One thumb, next thumb.
That's alright.
We can reshift
it. We can do a little bit of reshuffling before that glue sets.
Yeah.
Oh.
Ta-da!
Yeah, it's like jobs are good. So we'll just go ahead and do the same thing, but on the bottom of the can, and come back with the next step in our tin can silo terrain build.
Cool.
Okay, so we've gone through and put all of the framing, the struts on our silo. Don't be too off-put if it's not exactly perfect. It's fine. These are obviously man-made structures, so there's going to be a bit of human error in it.
And this is the underhive.
It is the underhive.
It's gone through a bit of wear and tear.
It has indeed, yeah. So the last part of our construction for the tin can silo is putting the rivets into the structure. And I'm just going to show you quickly how to do one rivet, and then we'll go through and do the rest. So for this you'll need your hobby drill, and we're going to do one of the corners on our little plate at the top here. So all I'm going to do is just on one of the corners, come in a little bit from the corner and just drill. Now, with drilling, it's on a bit of an awkward angle for me, so I'm not doing my best drill. You want to try and apply even pressure as you drill, so it goes through. And it's gonna, because it's drilling through cardboard and then aluminium, which this drill, let's face it, isn't designed to do. You're gonna have it slipping a bit. You may have to go back and just readjust so that you're not losing your drill bit into the vise, like so.
Have you ever used a power drill?
Yeah, but the problem with a power drill is that because you're drilling into aluminium, and again it's such a hard surface to get a grip on, you can slip
End up drilling into your
hand, or
tables around.
yeah, just ruining the hole, or the terrain project. So I tend to steer clear of power drills, or those little powered cutting tools. There's a brand that starts with D that I won't mention. But as you can see, I've now just drilled through into the can. I don't know if that's coming up on the camera.
And it corresponds roughly to where these dots are.
Exactly, on our plan. So now that I've drilled the hole for the pin to go through, all I need to do is grab my pin, grab a little bit of the old super glue, just put a little dab of super glue in. It's taking its time coming out of the tube.
Yeah, that stuff sucks. Bottom super glue.
Okay. So a little dab of super glue, and then the sewing pin just slips right in. Press down.
And that gives you a rivet look.
A little rivet. Nice. So what I'll do is I'll just go through, do the rivets on the can, and then come back when it's done.
Cool.
Awesome. We're back, and we've reached the end of our terrain building tutorial for our tin can silos. So Pete, we're ready to have a look at the finished product?
Yeah. What we did just real quick while we're off camera is we just drilled everything. We did actually break a drill bit while doing it. So I broke a drill bit while doing it. So two things on that. One, wear eye protection probably put health and safety warning in there, don't want to get sued. Second of all, when you're putting the drill bit in the drill, just make sure it's quite short, not really long, and don't put a lot of pressure on it. And in fact, when you're doing the side of the can, if you've got something, you can actually just puncture the side of the can. It's pretty thin, the aluminium there, so you might not necessarily need to use a proper drill bit and drill all the way through. And then we just glued all the rivets in, and it looks pretty good. So, final reveal.
There she is.
There we go.
Yes, our tin can silo. So yeah, and there's Sheriff Woody for scale purposes.
There you go.
Looking good. So you can go ahead and put additional framing or struts on it. I know a popular way is to have some diagonal struts on the side of the can, just to help break up this the corrugated effect, but I quite like it, and I mean, it's really up to you design wise what you want to do. For us, we built it pretty quickly. You can just churn these out en masse. As I said at the start of the video, they don't cost the earth to make, and they're really good, as Pete pointed out, for line of sight blockers, for games like Necromunda and Warhammer 40,000. So it's totally up to you as to where you go with your tin can silos.
I've seen you also do them with, you can use other kind of cans as
you
well.
You can, yeah.
Did you do it with the Pringle thing once?
You can do it. You can use the bigger cans, or if you get like the fatter ones as well, or the smaller ones, to give yourself some variation in size. It's really up to you.
And we've also, in many ways, if you're just doing planers for Necromunda, you want the gangways and things, we've paired a lot of these up with some of the MDF gangways, and we may even show in a future video how to build your own and use those, but you can just place them between the two and have gangways going across the two, and very quickly you've got yourself a pretty dynamic, cheaply, easily built set of three-dimensional terrain.
Brilliant. So that's it for our terrain building tutorial for the tin cans. Our next video will focus on painting and doing a few things to really
making it look the part.
Oh yeah, bring it into the underhive.
There's gonna be some cool detail pieces on there. I think you'll appreciate as well.
Definitely. But as always, if you do have any suggestions or comments or questions about our terrain building tutorials, please do put them in the comments below. We do appreciate your feedback, and obviously subscribe and like our video and our channel, and hopefully catch you soon.
Alright, and that's it for Terrain Lab for this episode. Catch you next time.
See you later.
Happy building. Take care.